Right. I want you to make a firm choice,
No, I
and
don't
you
know.
you tell me what number poddy you think we're on.
I don't know the answer to that.
Come on, mate. You got just pick a number.
10.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure. So I did 10.
Okay, if you gun to your head, you got to choose what number podcast this is. You said two numbers. You said 10 or 11. What one are you saying?
12.
Welcome to podcast number 10. I'll let you lead this one. Put you in the spotlight.
Welcome to podcast number 10.
Hey.
So this week is going to be about Adam. Find out a little bit more about him.
Oh, in the hot seat.
He's in the hot seat. Is the seat hot?
So it's pretty warm out, to be fair. It was 22 degrees when we were coming back from Corey's there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, summer's finally here in Canada.
Oh, yeah. Summer here is wonderful, isn't it?
It is. It's actually kind of winter's here. You kind of just embrace the cold winters, and when the summer comes out, you really do actually experience it in a much nicer way, actually. You know, because you really don't spend that much time outside in winter. When the summer comes, it's glorious.
Yeah, at the moment it was really nice. Most of the lakes have come up, they've started melting, all the water's come up, all the water's now there and nice and blue, and you're thinking, wow, lovely place to have a walk through. Make sure you got your bear spray. That's the main
Make
thing.
sure you got your bear spray. Did you see there's a story about in Canmore, they had to close down one of the centres because somebody's bear spray went off
Oh no.
in their bag.
Oh, and everyone was just like dying.
Yeah, they had to close the centre down. So, little story for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, this story's about Adam. So, just want to learn a bit more about you, so the viewers can find out who you are, how you come to Canada, your business experience. So yeah, just start off with where you're from, and just who you are, really.
Where I am, where I'm from. I'm Adam. I'm from Southampton in England. And yeah, so I think for me, I was in the 9 to 5 for quite some time. I've always wanted to own a business. That was one of my main things. I thought, I don't know why, actually. I don't know why I really wanted to own a business. I didn't really want to be employed. But then I remember I was in a friend group that essentially they would take the mick quite a lot about this idea of making a business. Like at first, I tried, what was one of the main things. When I went to Australia in 2013, I saw that in the landscape, there was loads of repair shops, mobile phone repair shops. And I remember I got my phone repaired, and I remember one of the guys, he knew how to do it. And I asked him, how do you actually do these mobile repairs? And he took me around his house and he showed me because my back screen had broken. And he showed it was about a $10 part. And I was like, fuck. It was a 2-minute job. Take the back off,
Mm.
put the new back on. I was like, how much would they have charged you for that? And he was like, oh, easy, $60. I was like, oh, bro, why are we not doing this? Why are we not making money off it? Because a screen you could buy for like $50 and repair them. Is when the 5S had come out. It was like $180.
Mm-hmm.
So a 3x markup right there.
Yeah, you saw the value in the services rather than the actual cost of the bits and pieces you had to go with it. So
Yeah.
did that turn like a switch on in your head for the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time we went and used to advertise on Gumtree. And that's how everything was done in Australia back in 2013, 2014. So I started advertising this on there and got a few ones where I'd call it like the mobile Aussie fix. So we'd go out to them, repair the phone, and then we'd take the cash there and then. So it was quite a nice lucrative thing, whereas most people would have to go to a Westfield or a super centre or whatever, and they have to get it done there rather than someone coming to you. So that was like the first bit. I was like, oh, I can make real money here.
How long were you doing that for?
6 months.
Okay.
Before I came back to the UK, yeah. So
And how much do you think you made from it?
couldn't be more than like $1,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't massive.
Yeah, but still, it's very rare on the first one. You're gonna make much money, but it's just a light bulb moment where you go, okay, there is actually you can understand then how you can actually make money in different ways. Okay, so after Australia, well, let's go back. So you went to school in Southampton, then you went to university
Mhm.
in Bristol.
University in Bristol. That was, I think that was the point midway through when I got a job in the sandwich year that you do, and I thought, I don't know if I could do this for the full, like 40, 30, whatever it is, 40 more years of my life. I thought, not sure about this, but I was really interested in sales because I was in IT at the time and my degree was heavily on programming. And I was thinking, "Ah, I don't know if I could sit in an office all day and program and just be like, not shit money, but I thought,
Mhm.
"Oh, I don't know if I could do that."
Yeah, the cubicle lifestyle is a scary lifestyle to think of, especially coming out of school and just thinking, sitting in a cubicle, ooh, that's scary.
I was in IBM and what was it, 20? I don't know, somewhere around that age. And I was talking to all the people I was in tech support. I was speaking to all the people in the tech support. Most of them were like older guys, and pretty much they were saying, "Oh yeah, I wish I could have done something different." They were nice guys, but you could tell they were feeling like they'd just wasted their life being in tech support. I thought,
Mhm.
I can't be like that. I can't be doing that. Sales was interesting, but I thought, well, I'm going to go traveling anyway. So I saved up money, and then after uni finished, went traveling, and that's when it kind of had that bit of freedom where you're like, oh, okay, now I can have this new identity. I've left university, I've left Southampton. Now I can try to do something else. And that's when the doors open up and I was running out of money. I think I was traveling around Australia and then needed money. Had to take the first kind of job that you can get, and it was sales. I remember one of the most pivotal moments in sales was that you had to go into a shopping centre, pitch people as they were walking by. And you said, "Oh, quick question for you."
Oh, one of those.
Oh, one of those guys, mate. I know I would hate to be on the
Yeah,
receiving
but
end.
I really think, honestly, sales is the biggest thing in any business.
Yeah.
If you can get good at something like that, you will smash business.
Well, they used the sales training that you had with them was the Jordan Belfort stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so we used to go like the buying line, the straight line theory, all these other things. So they'd give you a piece of paper, and that was your pitch. So what you do is you do this pitch and you just rehearse it, rehearse it, rehearse it, rehearse it, and all you do, your main job, they gave you the law of averages. You had to stop um, as many people as possible. I think you'd stop either like 50, you'd pitch to 30, and
Mhm.
you'd get like 1 to 5 sales in a day. And it was all about numbers.
So realistically, you had to they 1 to 5 sales a day. That's all they were happy with that.
Yeah, but you didn't have any product to sell them. You were selling them a 39.99 subscription to
Mhm.
a charity, and you'd get commission off the back of that.
Okay, so did you get an hourly wage too, or just straight
Yes,
commission?
used to get can't remember how much it was. It wasn't much, but you'd get like a baseline, and then obviously the sales would top you up.
Mhm.
But I remember there was this one time I was pitching this guy. He let me get to the end of the pitch, just the whole thing, and then he just looked at me and he was like, "You ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People?" And I was just thought, No." And he was like, "Hmm." He just looked at me and was like, "How can you be in sales and you've never read that book?" And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Go read that book." So, and he just walked away. That was it. It was like like a little angel come in, give you a little sprinkle or
That's
something,
crazy.
then
How
off
old
you
was
go.
he?
Oh, he's a bit older bloke, like 40s, 50s.
That's cool. Good
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, well, that was one of my first self-development books I ever read. And that was the thing that led me more onto self-development, self-help,
Mhm.
and going down that path of, oh, okay. So then I found another sales job with selling gas.
Still in Australia?
Still in Australia, yep. Then because the charity, it started falling apart, I became like a manager, saw behind the scenes, and I was a bit like, "Oh, this is quite dark actually." Looked for another job, and it was another sales job, and essentially selling gas. But there was only one gas company in Perth at the time, and I was working with the marketing company that worked with the competitor. So they were like the next
Mhm.
one in the so you can probably I don't know if in Perth they got loads now, but then there was just the two, so they competed against each other. So the new company, which I was working on behalf of, had a better offer. So
Mm.
we went out, and all I was doing all day was just pitching people, pitching people.
And that was knocking on people's doors
No,
or
that was
phone?
in shopping centres.
Ah, same thing.
Same thing. I literally went from charities to gas sales.
And was their sales procedure the same? Similar?
Similar, but it was a much easier sell.
Sure.
Essentially,
It's down to the offer.
it was. It was essentially you would get 10% off a month if you pay by direct debit. So you'd pay a monthly fee, and then you just get 10% off your gas.
Yeah.
And it was much better off than the other one. And the hardest part was just getting someone to stop and listen
Mhm.
to what you had to say. And as soon as they listened, it was a no-brainer. They were
Really?
like, "Yeah, all right, sign up." And you just get $10 commission per sale, and it was also base wage of the hourly minimum, which is like
And
18 bucks.
how many people were you pitching to a day on that one?
As many as you fucking could.
That Okay, so what, 100? How many? I don't know.
You probably actually stop. Surprisingly, only about 50 people max.
Yeah.
Well, no, you wouldn't. I would generally get 10 to 20, maybe 30 sales at max. So most of the time you stop people, and if you stop them, they had the gas line, some people on propane, you sell them. That's
Mm,
generally it. But I would be earning, that was when my money started really increasing. I was making, at the time, $1,000 a week or whatever it was
sure.
quite great.
Who are the best people for closing there? People with kids, just single guys, single like women, like who?
With anyone that was like probably in their 30s who were a homeowner,
Yeah,
and they were just eh, had like something about them, they would actually listen to you
yeah,
as soon as they heard it. But some people thought it was a scam.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fair play. You're being pitched in a
The shopping
in
centre,
a
yeah,
shopping
yeah.
centre when they didn't ask for it. So,
But I got in trouble with when I was at the gas, because that was when I started doing the mobile phone fixing. And what I would do is when somebody was with me on the kiosk and I was doing pitching them, if they had to get their phone out for something, I'd see if they got a broken screen or not on his iPhone, and I'd be like, "Oh, I actually fixed those, by the way." So that's, and then I got in trouble because they realised I was doing that, and they said, "You can't run your own business off of this." And I
did you? How did you get away with any sales?
I
Just
did, yeah, yeah, yeah. Got a couple, and that's 'cause interesting. They I did some iPhones, but then one of them said, "Oh, can you do iPads?" And I was like, "I can give it a go. I've never done them before, and I'll let you know." And then I did an iPad. Never wanted to do a fucking iPad again.
mm,
It was because with them you have to scrape out all the glass if they crack,
yeah.
and then it was, yeah, it's a bit of a technical nightmare.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that was my time in Australia. Then I go home, and then I was. This is the bit where we go back into a 9 to 5, because I'm just thinking, if I go away again and come home, I'm gonna be living with my parents again. And at 20, how old you are, 24, 25, you probably don't want to be living with your parents.
Sure.
That's when I just kind of fell back into the 9 to 5, and I was like, just got comfortable.
And what job was that?
That was customer service,
Customer service doing what?
as in working for a finance company. I was in recruitment, but hated that, and then went into customer service. Ended up becoming a manager, then looking after their recruitment, and I was there probably for about 6 years.
Mhm.
So 5, 6 years.
And then you were there for 6 years, did you start looking into the Facebook ads? What were you doing? Were you doing personal development? What was it? Were you doing anything to get on the journey of entrepreneurship or not?
No, it was by accident I fell into entrepreneurship back again. It was kind of like I was getting really frustrated about being in that job. And for fun, outside of work, I was doing videos on Facebook. Like, me and a few friends would get together, we'd make videos and we'd post them out. And then I remember being at work and I posted one about tea and what was their name? Yorkshire Tea. Caught the video and commented all over it. And then it started going a bit viral. And I was like, oh, okay, that's quite interesting. And this is before TikTok was a thing. And then we made some other videos and they did really well. Like, we had a video go about 30,000 views on YouTube. And I was like, okay, just making videos for fun. It seems to be going somewhere. And then TikTok came out. And Gary Vee at the time was saying, TikTok, get on TikTok, get on TikTok. And then I sat on it. Everyone was calling it a kids app. But I sat on TikTok for about an hour or 2 hours and just thought, I'm not leaving this platform until I understand why people think, why it's the next big thing. And the penny dropped. TikTok was the thing that it wanted you to share it. It was encouraging you to make content. It was the thing where music was the driver. So you'd make
Mm,
videos based off of music, and then they would go viral, and then the music would go viral. And I was just thought, wow, this is gonna be massive. So I
mhm,
started making videos, and the next thing I know, my account in 2019 goes from a few hundred followers, and I managed to take it up to 150,000 followers. So for me, I was like, "Oh, I've got something here." And then I went to this. My sister was saying, "Oh, I'm going to this marketing event, and they're talking about entrepreneurship. You should come with me." And I was kind of like, "Yeah, all right, fine." But I decided to finally go to this marketing event, and that was one of the pivotal points. It was a bloke called Adam Stott, and this was before he was as big as he's got now. But um, he was essentially, he taught you on the weekend Facebook ads, marketing, and that really inspired me to be like, right, okay, I'm doing this thing with my TikTok.
mhm.
Maybe I can.
Sure.
do it as a business. And that's when I met what I would later find out to be one of my first clients.
Okay.
Yeah, it was quite, it was all fell into place really nicely.
And then you moved into Facebook ads as a service straight away, or that took a while to actually really understand what the service and the offer was?
No, so I actually started doing organics for companies.
Mhm.
So it got to a point where COVID hits. I'm really unhappy in my job, and I just thought I'm going to learn skills. I had the TikTok stuff going on at the moment for myself. I thought this is doing really well, and then I was kind of thinking I have to leave my job. COVID was such an opportunity to learn skills and spend time doing stuff that you wouldn't usually be able to get to do. So I do what I had to do at work, and then the rest of the time I was spending an hour learning my PT level 3. I'd learn Amazon. I learned drop shipping. I learned social media marketing. And then finally,
Mm.
by accident, that's when I kind of decided I'm going to leave the job because I had opportunities to go into a marketing business. I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And it was me and two other guys. And one of the things that we were doing was taking 25. The government had like a scheme where they would help people on benefits get into work and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I got invited to work with two other people on a business where they would help 25 people on benefits like try and launch a business
Hmm.
and get into work, which was really cool. I learned a lot from both of them, and we worked together furiously for about 3 months. And it got to the point where they said, "Oh, how do you think we can scale this?" And I was like, "We can make it into a course. If we make it into a course, like I'll build it. I'll make it into a video course. We'll sell it for like 500 quid per time, and then we'll scale it up."
Mhm.
And they were like, "Oh, great, yeah, cool. So what kind of percent are you thinking?" I was like, "Well, 33%. There's three of us. There's three of us in this like field. There's a fair split." And they said, "Okay, we'll go talk about it." The next day or next couple of days, they set me up on a Zoom and they essentially said, "Look, Adam, we don't want to give away the farm. We you can give us a quote of how much you'll charge us to
Mhm.
do that, but we're not going to go into business with you." And I was like, fuck. Okay. I was actually at the time kind of like furious, but also like these guys just don't see my value.
Yeah.
So I picked up the phone to the accountant and said, put me up a business. My online name was Adam Bam. So I was like, call it Bam Media Marketing because Bam Media was taken. I
Mhm.
had to have Bam Media Marketing and off we went.
And that's the guys. Do you know where they are now? What they're doing now?
I
Or
think one of
oh
them
well.
got quite heavily into TikTok Shop. One of them became more of a consultant. Um, but they all kind of went on their own different paths. They decided they did ask me after I made a video for the final bit. I went back, did a video to like promote the process.
Mhm.
They saw the video, saw what I was capable of, and they were like, "We want you to come aboard with me." And I was like, "Nah, nah. You can't say you don't want to work with me, then see what I can do, and then go,
Yeah.
no, we're
Should
not
have said
taking."
for 50%. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of thought, I know I can make money myself, so I'm going to do it without you, and I don't need you taking any of my work as a profit type of thing.
And then going into running your own business.
Mhm.
How long did it take to get your first clients?
The one from the marketing weekend that I'd done,
Mhm.
he was one of my first clients, which was amazing. So I started doing the organics with him. So actually, TikTok organic was where I started. I
Mhm.
started actually making videos for companies.
Okay, so like street interviews and things like that.
Well, actually, it started with product videos. There was this one brand called Fix Its. They were these little pieces of plastic. Dunk them into hot water, like boiling water. They'd melt and they become malleable. And then you could make them into different things and you could actually repair things. That's why they called themselves Fix Its. They're actually on Dragon's Den. Yeah, so I worked with that brand and they definitely didn't see the value. This is where I start to see that brands, when you start doing their organic, they get views. They got millions of views.
Yeah.
Brands that I've worked with get millions of views, and then they don't see the return in monetary terms.
Mhm.
They see its attention, but they don't see
The ROI.
the ROI.
Mm.
And that's when a friend of mine said, "Oh, do you want to like? You should go and try this company." And it was an online company that would teach you how to run Facebook ads. And I spoke to them and said, "Oh, I've got a couple of clients in this organic. I really would like you to help me scale it." And they just turned around and said, nah, we wouldn't touch organic. It's all about paid advertisement because you can show ROI. And I was like, okay, fine. I paid like £800 for the course and then learnt Facebook ads rapidly because I was like, shit, I need some clients.
Yeah.
We've just come out of COVID and I thought, oh, what am I interested in? Because the product stuff's quite hard to get into. So what am I interested in? Okay, I like the gym and I like marketing. So I'll do gyms. So I got a list of like 500 to 1,000 gyms off of a lead generator on Fiverr and just started cold calling, cold calling, cold calling. Turns out after about 1,000 phone calls that after COVID, gyms had no money. And that was obviously like quite painful to realize. I spent all this money on leads. And also, I just realized I hated the cold calling as well. And I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to convince these people to pay me £500 a month. And they're literally like, nah, you're right.
Mm.
So that was a difficult slog.
Does that put you off cold calling for life?
I think after doing the recruitment job and being hounded by my manager a few years back and then doing cold calling, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of.
Yeah. Quick, just going back to, you obviously mentioned you grew the TikTok to 150,000.
Yeah.
Did you get any brand deals? Was there any monetary? Did you monetize that at all?
No, I think this was before really they I was aware that you could get paid to do this stuff. So what I was doing was charging £500 a month for 30 videos, which is actually insane
Mm.
how cheap that was for brands for me to do. Um, and then yeah, so I got somewhere they'd give me a product and I'd make the video
Mm-hmm.
and I got a free product out of it. Like there
Mm.
was Fairfax and Favour gave me some beautiful like shoes, but other than
And
that, I never.
what video did you do for them? Just like a product
Nope.
showing them, or?
Just literally like me and my partner at the time, we went made a video and go from looking like slobs to like dapper people, and I was wearing the Fairfax and Favour shoes.
Cool.
Yeah, it was quite a nice video, but the thing is,
Again.
they were worth like £300
Mm.
at the time. I was like, "Whoa, I'm in here."
Yeah.
So, but obviously, you don't realize your value now. You would 30 videos a month, fully filmed, edited, and all the scripts done for you.
Yeah.
Probably looking at a few grand.
Yeah, for sure.
But back then, £500, I thought, well, okay, I guess go pay some bills of mine.
Yeah. So then you started off, you got your first client,
Mhm.
and then tell me that story of because starting a business, registering a business, to then getting your first client, to then actually running a business. There's so much that comes alongside of running a business compared to
Slog.
being self-employed. Like, what were some of the, for someone starting a business now,
Mm.
what are some of the tips or things that you learned that you could give them?
I would say that uh, you got to figure it out. You got to fit. You just got to do it. That was the thing that I learned the hard way. Is I had this skill without realizing it. Like I knew how to do organic content. That I would started learning paid advertisement, and the way that I then learned was just doing it for free or like doing it for cheap.
Yeah.
Like £500 a month for 30 organics is a laughing stock right now, obviously. But back then I was like, I just need to
Get the
figure out how
reps
to do
in.
it.
You need to get the reps in, don't you?
Get the reps in, I think is the main thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I got better at Facebook ads. Like I said, oh, I do Facebook ads. Then somebody referred me to a gym owner and I even started running lead gen campaigns for them. That worked really well. Also, one of my friends owned a glazing business. So I was running lead gen campaigns for them. That worked really well. It was bringing in them more business. So they were like really happy with it. And I had case studies now.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the clients I did organic for said, oh, you do Facebook ads? Can you do my e-commerce? That's how I got into e-commerce. And then I started posting in Facebook groups, and that's how uh, I got the organic work with a girl called Danny, who you know of. I've worked with in the past, and that's how our relationship started. And then she said, "Oh, you do Facebook ads? I've just been left high and dry with somebody. Can you do mine?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine." So I started doing the Facebook ads for the diary company, and took them from like 30 grand a month to over 100 grand. And then that's when all these groups I'm part of, there was another company that said, "Oh, we're looking for somebody to help run our ads. If you've got any experience, please let us know." And that's when I chucked my hat in the ring and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've just done this for a few companies." And then they kind of helped me be the get more exposed.
Mm.
'cause I think for them, I was running probably about 7 accounts. So I was putting in the reps, I think is
Yeah.
the main thing. But they were awesome. So I think they've been launched 1 or 2 years, and we're all in the same network. Um, I started running the ads for their companies. So they had quite a few e-commerce companies, and that's where I really learnt the hard truth about ads, was because some of the companies were working really well, and some of the companies were just flopping. And that's when I learnt a lot about offers, creative, copy, because you have to learn from what if it doesn't work, why doesn't it
Mm.
work? Like, for example, one of the brands was an icy pop, like an ice pop, what do you call them? They were a vodka pop
Okay.
brand,
Yeah.
and we were going into winter. And if you look at, do people buy vodka pops anyway? But do they especially buy them going into winter?
Mm.
No. But what some of the easiest companies to scale were, a there's a company out there that what happens is you pay them €10 a month, and then they give you loads of amazing deals, and it's a no-brainer. So that just converted like butter. And I was like, right, okay, it seems to be the better the offer is, the more likely you are to convert. The better the creative is, the better you're more likely to convert. The better the copy speaks to the right person, the better things start to convert. I'm starting to see the formula work here in action.
Yeah.
And that's when I start doing other jobs and start growing quite rapidly.
Yeah, it's all about the offer really, isn't it? You can have if you've got a good offer, but not the best video or the best copy, it's all about the offer. Does the person who you're showing it in front of,
Mm,
do they see obviously what the offer is, and does it add value? Does it give them more time? All the things that they need. Does it
mm,
make their life better?
yeah.
All those things. And if the offer is super upfront and obvious, it's just such an easy win. It makes ads so much an easier space to be in, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. But then, like, after doing some of the e-commerce, that's when, um, so we start going, they got a really good offer there with a company called Kingpin. So I was working with a company called Lifelight Media. They were then had an opportunity to work with Kingpin, and then they said, "Oh, could you run ads for these big shows?" And they were the boxing shows. This was
Hmm.
where I'd never heard of these guys before, but this was back in the day. We had TikTokers where it was a guy called Simple Simon, Ed Matthews, HS Sticky Tocky, these guys. And this is before anyone they was doing live streaming, etc. But they were coming up on TikTok, and they put them into a ring. And essentially the plan was get these guys in a ring, advertise it, and then people will buy on the pay-per-views. So that was quite an interesting time. I think that was back in 2022 or 23.
Yeah, 'cause you flew over to Dubai and you did the Mayweather
Yep.
fight as well.
Yeah, yeah. So we did the Kingpin stuff, and obviously that went very well. But then we decided, or then Paul from Lifelight gets an opportunity to. Um, they said, "Oh, you are the guys that do the ads. Can you come out and can you do the uh, Mayweather fight?" And that is where Mayweather and Deji go together. So Paul, fair play to him, he said, "Yeah, sure. If you fly me, Adam, and Jack out, who's his brother," and he was like, "Yeah, fine." So we all got on a flight to Dubai and just turn up, and it's a week of mate. That was like hectic.
Was it?
You're literally uh, before we go, they do all the press conferences in the UK, and they said, "Oh, mate, can you get to London?" And I was like, "Why? What do you need?" And he's like, "Oh, we need you to go film Floyd Mayweather." And I was like, "Okay, fine. Okay, that's no problem." And then I get told to be at London at like 6 o'clock. I turn up there and I'm having to speak to a bloke. I think his name was Kane or something. Essentially, Floyd has a right-hand man and this big a guy from Africa, huge, and he's like his not his bodyguard, but he always comes with an entourage. And he was like, "You're going to meet Floyd about 6 o'clock and whatever." Floyd don't turn up till no, actually I think it says 2 o'clock, but I don't. He doesn't turn up till 6, and he comes in all these big Hummers and stuff. And he's like, "You film, you film." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I'm taking this video and I'm following Floyd. I'm going backwards into the changing room, and Floyd's there, like right in front of me. And then I sit and I'm just filming him in this changing room, and it's the weirdest vibe. Like they shut the door, and there's just me and this big entourage of people, and I'm just stood there with this video camera. And I said to this big bodyguard, I'm like, okay, right, what shot do you need from me? He was like, just film Floyd. Mate, Floyd is just sat here and over on the bench. He's just doing this. He's like, I'm like, oh man. And I just went over to Floyd. I thought, oh, I'm the Floyd Mayweather. I'm just gonna go over and have a chat. And I was just like, Floyd, I'm your videographer. What do you want me to film for you? And he just turns up, he looks at me and he just goes, you ain't my videographer. If you my videographer, I own that footage. And I was like, okay. And he goes, just puts his thumb up, his hand up and just bumps me. That was it. And I was just like stood there just filming him. And all he's doing is just signing gloves and thinking that was it.
But other than that, it was seemed alright, or
I think he's just he's worth money, isn't he? So
yeah.
he doesn't need anyone. That's
No,
from our
he'll have an
perspective.
ego and he'll have an entourage of yes men around him,
Yeah,
and
that was it. And then we go out to Dubai. Because I filmed with him before, I end up being shipped into Escalades and start filming him and following him and stuff, which is quite an interesting one. But then my job was to essentially get all the ads. So I had to communicate with like Tommy Fury's manager, Deji, whoever, just to
Mhm.
essentially get videos from these guys to promote
Yeah.
the event, and then I run the ad accounts from your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things,
Were
etc.
you selling tickets to the actual event or just pay-per-view?
Both.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, well, say that it was meant to be pay per view, but then we just do it for the arena show,
Yeah.
and then the pay per view because it was a third party. I think it was DAZN at the time. Decided they didn't want to feed DAZN's pockets, but because of that event, that's when I meet Charlie Sloth's manager, who's Charlie Sloth's a big name in the UK, and then like further down the line, they asked me to do other boxing events like
Mhm.
over in Abu Dhabi and Dubai and stuff. So that was really, and then some of the Charlie Sloth events over in Five Palm, etc. So I managed to get kind of different events in that space because of just the networking, being there, doing a good job, being pulled over to the next jobs, and then going more and more heavy when people know my name into e-commerce. So it all just kind of like that one having a good reputation leads you to the next role,
Sure.
next thing, and then we just kind of build out from there.
Yeah, you never know. Once you actually go into business, people partner with people, and one, you're actually good at what you do. One, you're a decent guy, and two, you got good morals. Do all those things. Your name just gets passed on so quickly. It just makes such a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just when you can walk into a room and you can walk in with your head up, high, and there's people respect you. Makes
Mm.
such a big difference. And
Yeah.
just means you can roll through business such a nicer way rather than just trying to, you know, step over people. It's never a
Yeah.
good way in business. So.
Yeah. Well, that was it. And then we get to this point where I'm like, cool, I'm trying to manage this all myself. I can't really. So then I was speaking to my brother, Jake, and he's just got I see him posted about it, and he was asking me questions about ads. I saw that he started running his own dropshipping store, and he made some success out of it, and I thought, "He's doing this all by himself, he's using his own money, but, like, taking his own risks," and that's when I got him to come on board with me in the marketing company. So I start paying him. Convinced him to leave his job. He comes with me on the marketing company, and then whilst we're both running the marketing company, I get him to continue learning about dropshipping, and he's showing me, okay, this is working, this isn't working, and we use the marketing agency to try and figure stuff out. And then that's when we have a nice explosion of the dropshipping. So that we had an account that went really well. It goes awesomely, like very quickly, and then we decide I start posting about it publicly, and then I start we kind of doing so well. I thought, okay, as I'm posting it publicly, we're collecting people that are showing interest, and then after we see that there's interest, we launch the dropshipping mentorship, and then after we launch the dropshipping mentorship, we then go to decide to run the next marketing agency as a duo, as
Mhm.
that's when we launched the next one, and then as we're starting to move forward, he kind of gets distracted, I think, by a love interest. And that's when we kind of decide it's maybe not the right fit at the right time because
Yeah.
he's 10 years younger.
Mhm.
He's looking at he's looking at life a little bit differently, shall we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was really good working with him, but then it was kind of time to to part ways, I think is the nice way to say it.
Yeah, sometimes, especially going with people in your family in business,
Mm.
it can be difficult sometimes. I can imagine that was hard.
I think so. I think that was a good lesson because I probably let a load of because he was my brother. I probably let more slip than I would have because I think, I had a conversation with you about it, and you just kind of obviously vented and said, "This is the situation." You said this really key sentence. It was, "If he wasn't your brother, would you let someone get away with it?" And the answer was just no, I wouldn't. And you just turned to me and were like,
Yeah, it's like you say, it's always easy from the outside
"Yeah,
to have an opinion on things, but emotions and it's a bit like you say, family is hard.
yeah, man." I definitely think I'm in the nicest way. I probably wouldn't go into business with family again.
Yep. Well, this is the last business you're going to
Yeah,
start,
it
and
is, mate.
hopefully,
It
so
is. It is. But then obviously we get to this point where I'm thinking like me and him have parted ways. I'm back to running the marketing agency and I'm like, what do I do? What I'm feeling like I need that next thing. I want another business partner, but maybe one that's a bit more mature. It's probably
mm,
like the better
mhm.
way to look at it. And then obviously you reached out and then I was like, well, yeah, it makes sense. And then I said, okay, what's the kind of thing you're interested in? And you were like, well, AI seems to be the way to go. And I was like, well, I went away and had a look and I was like, I really see it in the next 2 to 3 years. It's just going to be AI.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I was looking into I was looking into one of what business I want to run. I just came out of a business relationship, and I knew I wanted to. It's okay running a business by yourself. I think it takes a special person for that, and it takes a special person to run a business as a whole. But it's so nice having a business partner that you can bounce off of, because one plus one in a business equals three. It makes such a massive difference if there's two people grinding. And I had a few people say, "Oh, who do I reach out to? What do I want to do?" And I reached out to you and was so stoked because you were like, "Okay." Because initially, because I didn't know what business it was, and I was
Mm,
like, "Who can I work with? Who's?" And I reached out to you, and I remember you saying, "Cool, yeah, we could definitely work together. What is it?" I
mm.
didn't have the answer right then, but I just, I went away. I was living in Bali at the time, and just knew it was AI, and and that was it. I did,
I think if you'd have said you wanted to run an ecom business, I probably would have said it's not going to be for me. Like the thing what I experienced with the drop shipping is it is good. It can be good,
yeah,
but there are so many hidden things that like bite
there
you
is.
like and this was the thing, I shouldn't have probably, like, trusted Jake so much with with the money side of things, but then when I looked and drilled down into it, I was like, "That's like,
Yes.
the amount of fees and charges and stuff
Yeah.
that creep up on you, and then suddenly you're like."
Yeah, I'm surprised you did it because you like that stuff.
I do, but at the time, he was kind of, like, taking over that side of the
Yeah.
business, and I thought, "Cool, we're spending the money, it's coming like, money's coming in," but then when you look at the granular detail, you actually realize, okay, well, there's transaction fees, there's Shopify fees, there's the, what do you call it? The currency fees when you
Chargebacks,
chargebacks.
conversion
Oh,
rates. Yeah.
when the chargebacks don't, so, like, it has the potential definitely to be, like, a very lucrative game,
Yeah.
but by the time it started petering out, I was like, we thought we'd done pretty well, and then when we looked at the bottom lines of everything, all the expenses, etc., it was kind of like,
Yeah.
hmm, okay, we need to just be much better at.
Yeah. It's so easy talking about revenue.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Revenue, people think sexy, but it's all how much you making.
Mm,
So anyone, you could go and spend loads and loads of money on ads and make it look like you're doing good rev.
mm.
But what's your bottom line? What's your margins? How much you really making?
That was a good lesson, though. It definitely made me more conscious, especially when running ads for other companies, because we used essentially we would use third-party software to track all the profits, etc. Um, and that was the thing that made me more conscious of it because as you're the ad company, they tell you where the profit margins are, the lines are, and you go, "Yeah, cool, all right,
Mm,
we'll work to that number." But what you don't realize is all the other things that come
yeah.
as part of a business. So that's when you have to. Yeah, it's great. Obviously, the customer says, "Yeah, we're in profit." They know their numbers and stuff, but some of them don't.
And realistically, people put their best foot forward. People
Absolutely.
say that even if they'll jump on a call, "Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that." But realistically, most people exaggerate.
Yeah, like that, and that's the thing. I'm finding that with working with businesses, especially when you're like doing those sales calls. I know now we've got our qualification, etc., which definitely I've noticed people that are unqualified. Obviously, we still give them a call, but I've definitely noticed there's a different vibe for those that are doing like under the 50K mark versus those that are doing over the 50K mark. But they're more those doing 50K plus are going to be way more qualified than those doing
Yeah.
like 10, 20.
But like you say, there could be someone doing 30 grand a month who actually makes more revenue if someone does 50 grand a month who isn't very good at all those little bits and pieces of running a business, you know?
Yeah, there's like so many different layers. If I suppose if I was giving advice to anyone, because what this is like, it's nearly 6 years of experience. Probably just you're gonna have to do it, and you have to
Yeah,
go through it.
you do. But my biggest bit of advice would be don't jump before you can swim. Make sure that you can earn enough money that covers your job first and then go in. A lot of people, I think, and some people should, there are some people that quit their job, burn the boats, go all in. There's a very small amount of people that will survive that. But the average person who may not be a natural entrepreneur
Mm,
should realistically start a business on the side, get that confidence up, and then quit their actual job once they've earned enough money.
yeah,
Because it is a slog.
it is, man. Like I would, I pulled the blanket out from underneath me. Now, when I left my job, I had a bit of savings and was like, now I'm gonna pull the blanket out and see what happens. Most stressful time of your life.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's realistically, but running a business is realistically 90% losing.
yeah,
Hard 90% of the time.
yeah,
And that
you're doing things and you don't even know if that's the thing that's gonna be the thing that works.
that's
You're
what
like,
I mean.
I think this should work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I'm gonna learn from it.
Yeah. It's constant grinding. It's the unknown that most people can't survive with.
Yeah, I do look back and go, "Do you know what? If I could be one of those people that is just quite happy with the 9 to 5 and I'm living the best life ever, fine. Like,
Yeah.
good for you, man. Good for
That's
you."
what I said to you the other day. If you can go through life and you're happy to work for someone, and that's what you're a winner.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, you're happy. That you don't need to fight. There's no people try and make I think now there's a thing where people try to make to feel stupid or should feel guilty for just being happy with having a job. That's what you wanna do. You are winning. Don't start business unless you truly want to. Because a lot of people start it thinking it looks cool. "Oh, I can tell people I'm an entrepreneur." Trust me, it's not worth it just to be able to tell people that. There's so much stress to doing
Yeah,
it.
I think there
I
are
love it, you know?
yeah, I think there are people out there though that just like the idea of saying I'm a director. It's
Sure, but you won't survive long. Just if that's all you're doing, you won't survive.
mm,
You won't.
it's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure and that's fun. But there we go.
Good.
That's a bit about Adam.
Thank
Yeah.
you, mate. Yeah, thank you very much, man. Well, it's been a lovely episode number 10.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe 11.
And I'm gonna do a Robbie. Like and subscribe.